Hey guys, welcome back to the campaign. So this game picks up about a week or two after we got turned away from Helagrad. A sort of tent city has been made outside Helagrad, maybe down the path of the mountain and more out into the wilderness, where groups of people who were currently out of town now try to come back to town to find the same fate that we did. Eventually, we meet up with a group of dwarves led by Tavis Stonehammer, who's Agatha's uncle. And those two embrace, and she's crying and starts, asking about her dad. And it's a pretty stressful situation for her. And he basically just explains that they don't know any more than what we know. They've discovered a secret entrance that leads through the mountain. Javen explains to Agatha that it's probably best that she stays with her uncle while we go through and find out what's going on with her father. And he assures her and comforts her that we're going to rescue her father and we're going to restore his kingdom and bring him back into power. Tavis has a few of the dwarves that were accompanying him take Agatha and basically get her out of view, go get some food in her belly and maybe clean her up a little bit. That way he can talk to us in private. And he explains that once we delivered the dwarven crown, basically Azarus went nuts. He just sort of went onto a downward spiral. They don't know if the crown was corrupted or cursed or what exactly was going on with it. But what he does know is that's when Zenith, who is the wizard advising the king, the lead wizard of the Wizards Guild, which Lunarius had met before, he started calling the shots, basically exiling people. And before you know it, the king was missing. And it was just sort of one of those things where they were like, not telling the people, not telling the council what exactly he's doing, but trying to make it seem like it was something important was going on. Now Tavis says, I don't know, maybe that is the case, but here we are, and the gates are locked. The rest of our family is inside the city. We don't know if our families are safe. We don't know exactly what's going on. The part that really worries him is drow have been spotted on the mountainside, patrolling over the last week. They've discovered lots and lots of bones, humans, elves, basically the mixing pot of what's in Helagrad. And so it's kind of urgent that we get in there, we find out what's going on, and get the city back to normal. So that's where we're going to start. So here we go. First dungeon card drawn in a couple months. Let's do it. What do we got? The Bottomless Pit. Oh, so that's how we're going to start things off, huh? Hovering over what looks to be a bottomless pit is a series of wooden planks tied precariously together. So we make our way up into the mountains, maybe following some scattered bones or something that we find, or even some boot prints that lead up. And behind several large bushes up there is a small cave entrance, even if it's just a crack in the side of the mountain where we enter in. And we see this rickety rope and plank bridge that leads across. Power phase 2. So the good part is we don't have an encounter in here right now. The bad part is we've got to cross this bridge. So we're going to start off with Thundarian right here. He's going to go 1, 2, and when he gets to right there, he's got to roll a d6. Don't get a 1. All right, so he gets to make it all the way across. Next, Rapture. He's going to go 1, 2. When he gets to right there, he's got to roll d6. 3, 4. He makes it over to there. See, now these guys know that it's rickety, but they don't know that there's any situation going on here in the center. So everybody's doing okay so far. Lunarius, 1, 2. He's got to roll. No! These guys make it across. They hear like a popping. They turn around and the rope bridge collapses and Lunarius falls into the darkness. Everybody just looks at each other, eyes huge. The dog runs up to the edge here and is like looking down there and is making whining sounds. And that's just it. It says anyone who falls, all models on the bridge plummet into the darkness below, the bottom of which has never been reached, and are removed from the game. Wow. Now, I run a D&D type game here, so you never know if we'll see Lunarius again. But right now, everybody's yelling down there, and there's just nothing but black void where he's fell down in. To repair a collapsed bridge, a warrior must spend a turn shooting an arrow with a rope attached to it across the chasm by rolling on his ballistic skill as if shooting an enemy. If that is successful, the warriors can repair the bridge and it takes another 1d3 turns. If they don't have a rope or arrow belt, the warriors must turn back. Whoa. Okay, so I do have a rope. I do have a bow. So we're going to say that Javen can throw the rope across to Rapture. And then Rapture is going to take a shot. And if he misses that shot, then the rope and the chance for having a bridge go across is done. Rapture, it's up to you, buddy. I need a 4+. Oh. The arrow hits right at Javen's feet and holds momentarily, and everyone looks relieved. And then the entire piece of stone that the arrow was stuck to crumbles a little bit. Everyone's like, no, 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 no. And the rope and the arrow and the rock all tumble down into the darkness. Thunderian yells across at Javen and tells him that they're going to try to find another way out of here, and tells Javen to go back to the tent city and wait there, and they will be there as soon as they can. Javen doesn't really like this idea, and the dog's kind of whimpering a little bit, still looking down into the pit. And Javen says, I don't really like this idea, to the dog. And he looks back at these guys and says, hurry your asses up. Don't keep me waiting. And they all do kind of like a head nod. And Javen and the dog turn and head back to the tent city. So we're going to go to the power phase. Whew. Good thing. No encounter. It would have been just these two. All right, so he's going to move here. He's going to move here. And we're going to explore. Cavern lair. You enter a large room hewn from rock. Rough stairs lead up to a higher platform. So in the room ahead, as the description said, there's this area, and then there's these rocky cutout steps that lead up to a higher area over here. As these guys look around, they notice that there's like several little passageways that lead off into the darkness. We're going to do the power phase. That's a 4. And so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll just move them both in here. It doesn't matter. They're just in this room because they're basically going to try to escape the dungeon. And we have a chart for that. Escaping the dungeon table. We've got to roll 2d6 and see what happens. Escaping the dungeon. Sometimes the warriors find themselves in a situation that can only mean certain death. That's this case. It's best that the party abandons the adventure and heads for the safety of the surface as quickly as possible. And so we're just going to say that That's where I brought in these little passages out here, that those are like little winding dark caves that lead off into the unknown. And yeah, Thunderian gets a 8. The way to freedom is a bitter struggle against what seems like hundreds of foul creatures. The warrior loses 2d6 wounds modified for toughness and armor. If they do not have that many wounds left, they're dead. If they survive, they manage to fight their way out, bleeding from dozens of injuries. They have escaped. Thunderian's got to roll 2d6. As they take one of these little tunnels into the darkness, I mean, they have their lantern, but it only radiates like so many feet out into the darkness. They come under attack from some strange albino creatures with big teeth, about the size of like little dogs. And they're getting bit all over the place, and they're like hacking, and blood's going all over the place. And they're just sort of like running in this direction and then trying to go back that way because they know that the entrance to the cave isn't too far. Maybe they're hoping to get outside, but let's see. All right, so he's going to take 7 minus his toughness of 4. So he's only going to take 3 damage, and he falls out into the daylight on the mountainside. When he hits the rocky earth outside of the mountain, he's breathing super hard. He's got like little bite marks all over him. He's bleeding. He can feel the wetness from the blood sort of dripping down him. And he's going to have like these little bite marks all over him, like little scars. So Rapture sees Thunderian. Thunderian just looks back at him with these crazy eyes and just rushes out into the darkness through those tunnels back there. And Rapture follows right behind him. Let's roll 2d6. 5. The warrior trips in the dark hallway and falls flat on his face. Place the warrior face down in one of the squares adjacent to the doorway. Rapture trips and falls and ends up right there. Power phase. Ooh, you almost got a 1. If there would have been monsters, that could have been bad. With a fight or flight response, Rapture pulls himself up. Got to roll 2d6 again. Gets a 9. That's pretty cool because it's the same exact part of the chart as Thunderian just went through. So they were both attacked by all these little albino biting creatures. And let's see how many damage he takes. He's going to take 7 minus his toughness of 6 now because he's got the shield. So he's going to take 1 damage. And not long after Thunderian escapes, so does he. These guys are like, what the hell just happened? They start talking about Lunarius being trapped in there or not knowing the fate of their comrade, their wizard. They start debating, coming up with plans as they make their way down the side of the mountain back toward the encampment. Do they go back? Do they try to have the dwarves come and repair the bridge so they can make it across? And it's going to be a viewer decision. It's going to be on you guys. So I need you to leave a comment. Do you want these guys to continue through this cave to try to see what's in here and what's going on? Or do you want them to try to find another way into the mountain? Leave a comment below. Thanks. Catch you in the next video. See ya.